sides and she needs to detach. Like you can't, and then she also does this thing. I don't know if you guys know people like this in your life that make every situation about them. She's a little better than what she was like before, but she's still like everything. Every time she asks a question, she got to make it about her kids, her husband, how hard their marriage is. I feel like she's like trying to tell us that she's miserable with Nick. I don't know what her problem is, but it's like, girl, we're not logging on to hear about you and Nick. We don't care, respectfully. Like, we're literally not here for y'all. She has to detach. I mean, she can even look at nephew Tommy, Uncle Tommy, the way he does it. Mr. Tommy, uncle, don't care about none of the people on that show like that. He's there to do his job, have a bare minimum, have this basic level of respect. And then he goes home. She's too attached. And I think that's making it hard for her to ask good, hard-hitting questions. I don't think she's a very good listener. And then she's so emotional that she's not getting to the point because she gets very distracted by her own emotions and anecdotes and side stories. They need a more objective, less emotional host.
Agreed 100%. Who else wants to? Who else wants to have a say on Vanessa? What they feel about it?
Let the church say amen.
Short and sweet. All right, Sean. No, you being silent, Sean. You being silent on this.
I'm just reading the comments. They're cracking me up. They said Vanessa needs to sit on the bench and heal. You need to send her one of your shirts, Kojo. Maybe she could let you host the show.
Oh man!
Do y'all think Nick is able to talk in that house? Like, I'm concerned for him. Like,
I am concerned. I am very concerned. I generally am, Seaway. Like I rarely do, but this one I'm concerned.
I'm concerned.
Why are you concerned about what you think about that Vanessa and Nick situation?
Because I have a high tolerance for women having their own voice, being quote unquote aggressive, all the things that people like to say about women. So I don't have a problem with her being assertive and outspoken, but her lack of awareness of the folks around her, that her, like, she's not aware that her husband doesn't speak. She's not aware that she's not letting her the people on the show speak. She's just overbearing. And the way she's able to kind of like twist situations was the biggest concern for me. Like, I understand being like pro woman, like looking at stuff from a women's perspective. I try to do that. I know Lola does that when she comes up here. Like, we all try to view things from a women's perspective to some degree. But for me, the way that she kind of was almost attacking Marshall with her questions makes me feel like, do you have any accountability for the things that you do wrong? You know what I mean? Or is it always the man that's wrong? Because if you can't see the errors in what Jackie did, just objectively, just some of her things, right? How do you see your own issues? Like, there was a lot of things that like Jackie did that I had to look at myself. Like, am I doing this? Like, I'm also not a super affectionate person. Like, you got to be able to like self-reflect, check your own toxicity, figure out like why things are triggering you. And maybe Vanessa sees a lot of herself in Jackie, because I had to sit back and be like, why is this Jackie Marshall thing bothering me, right? And I was thinking, I was like, it's bothering me because there's parts of Jackie that I understand. So I think a lot of times when people see that in other people, they either get like really angry at them and they're mad at them, or they either go really close to them and try to protect them. And she seems like she just like tried to cover Jackie because maybe she sees Jackie in herself. I'm not trying to diagnose her. I don't know. But for me, like, that response doesn't really show that you have any self-reflection and accountability. And the way Nick just sits there, doesn't say anything, makes me feel like he's kind of like, this is my second marriage. I'm 17 years deep. I'm just gonna be quiet. And it shows. And it shows a lot. And I just, that was concerning. Not just as a host, but just watching them. I don't think they realize that we can see that there's just some's just not right. So yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Amber and Sean around Vanessa and Nick situation? Any thoughts on you, Sean, on Vanessa and Nick? No, but no, I definitely hear what you're saying. Oh, go for it, yeah, Sean, go for it, yeah. Go for it.
No, I was gonna say I love Seaway's take.
No. I mean, I agree with you, Seaway, as well, because I think I saw her last season as well. I think it might have been a Cole situation as well. I just felt like it's. I think just watching her on the course of this show, it's just her line of questioning just seems to be. It's almost as if the men are triggering her a little bit, just a little, or maybe she's seen some of their behaviors before and it's triggering how she's questioning, So I think that also seems to be an issue for me. But when I watch them, it's almost as if Nick takes a back seat to allow her to lead. But the thing is, she's not good at her job. I'm not going to be rude, but it's the truth. Like, I would be happy for Nick to sit back if she was good. And I'll be like, I don't think any of us will have a problem. We'll be like, well, because Vanessa's just so good at answering questions. Nick understands that. But it's almost as if Nick is saying, this is your show. I'm going to let you do what you need to do. But the reality is both your shows, I thought. I know he has his own baby with I say baby, not baby, but his own show in terms of Perfect Match. But it's almost as if he's like, I'm going to let you handle this one because you know what? This is more of your project and this was one that's closer to your heart or whatever. Not good at her job, and that's the problem when it comes to questioning. They should put her. They're gonna have to do. I remember in UK we had a show called Good Morning, and unfortunately they had to replace. There was a husband and wife. It was Rich and Judy, I think they were called, right? And eventually they replaced Judy. All right, now it's put more of a sexist situation because she got old and they had a younger girl come in, right? So it's a bit more of a sexist situation, but in reality, the audience in the end appreciated it and accepted it. And I think the same thing here might have to happen. We can have Nick and have somebody who's a bit more spunky and youthful, or even the same age, but who just has a better understanding of how to ask questions, because it's losing some of the depth of the show that could be drawn out from the reunion. We look forward to reunion. I think they have one of the weakest reunions out of any show that is really good. They have a great show up until that point, and it gets a reunion and it falls absolutely flat. I mean, I look at shows like even ones that are a little bit more, how do I say it? One might call it more ratchety or more ghetto, right? But I like to say shout out to my guy, first of all, Carlos King. Carlos King did an amazing job on Love and Marriage DC first season. The reunion, he was asking everything, and I mean everything that even I would have been like a little bit uncomfortable. Did an amazing job. I can't remember the guy's name that does Potomac and our Hop as well. Is it the white guy? I can't remember his name, but he'd be asking some quality questions.
Andy Cohen.
Yeah, he'd be asking some questions now. You know what I mean? Like however everybody feel about him, whatever. He'd be asking some questions that get to the get down. We need hosts that are gonna ask questions that are gonna get down to the get down. Right now, it's not getting to the get down. You know what I mean? So it's taking a shine off the whole overall product. This is something that can be worked on and something that can actually be polished. And just because you host a show, don't mean you have to host a reunion. Host a show and let someone else who's better at doing that job be in that position, because it's almost like having a great football team or a great soccer team or a great NFL team with a great defense, but have a very poor forward line. You know what I mean? You're great at everything else, but then when it gets to that final touch, we don't be scoring touchdowns and we're scoring goals. It just takes a shine off, So yeah, I'll leave that on that point. Any other thoughts on that? And before I move it on, yeah. Okay, great. All right, cool. I think another great conversation that was happening on the reunion was the situation with Zach Bliss and Irina. I caught the end of it, so I didn't get all of it. So you guys will probably have more to say about it, but they called Irina out all the way. I mean, they dragged her publicly. Okay, they tied her hair to the horse cart, and the horse cart dragged her around the town, and made sure everybody could see this what's gonna happen if you talk doo-doo. Okay, so I want to know what your thoughts were in regards to Irina, and Zach, and Bliss as well. Go for it, Amber.
I loved it. I loved it because I didn't see it coming from Zach. I remember when I first saw Zach and Bliss, I'm like, okay, he grew the beard out a little bit, the hair's a little longer. I said it works a little bit. He gave a different vibe, and I'm like, oh, maybe being